Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another very late, but very much here episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
And I am Joseph Gillier.
And today, we are reviewing Dissidia 012 XII 12 Dudekheim Duodecim Final Fantasy. Finally got it done. Honestly, it's not a very long game, so it's kind of shameful that it took us so long, because we decided to not play the original campaign again. The whole point of us doing the OG campaign and then doing this one is kind of just to get a feel for the gameplay changes, and also there's an additional storyline present in Dudekheim, so we had to play it for that.
So we only played 012 Dudekheim. We didn't play 013 OG. Ajwa. Final
Fantasy. We decided against it because, I mean, it's the same exact game. It's just a slightly different gameplay. Same characters, same everything as far as we can tell. And there's simply no need, you know?
No need whatsoever.
We already suffered through the horrendous dialogue that OG Dissidia presented us with, so slogging through it again is about the last thing I wanted to do.
I agree. So this was the plan all along, since I found out that was the case, that this one had its own scenario and that it just opened up the other one, and it opens it up linearly. We were under, the impression that when we started this game, it would give you, the option to play the original or the prologue, and nope, it just starts on Dudekheim, and then, you finish Dudekheim, and it opens up the original game, so, yeah, we just played Dudekheim, so it was only, I think my gameplay time, I want to say it was 14 hours, maybe?
Yeah.
I tracked it, I put it on Twitter, whatever it was.
Mine was, I think, 19.
This is 19?
Yeah, for a while I was trying to do all of the... You know how when you're on the chessboard thing, and you'll find, the uber chess pieces?
Yeah.
I was killing all of those. And some of those took some time. They were rough. They were rough. Yeah, your time was 14:43.
I didn't try a single one of those.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They were so hard in OG Dissidia. Those guys are like face melters in that original game. I was able to beat most of them, but by the time I got to when I picked the game back up after not really touching it for 2.5 weeks, and I was on Tifa, I was like, all right, it's time to just go. I can't fight all these big boys.
No.
And
but
so
to be fair, the reason it took us so long, I think it's because you had a baby, so we just decided to, take our time with this one, let you get a respite, as it were, and then we can kind of continue on as life becomes more normalized for you. So this game, by the way, Schweiss, we have Dissidia NT, it's Theater Rhythm, then Curtain Call, Mystic Quest, 4 Heroes of Light, Explorers in the World of Final Fantasy left. So, and we talked about it this morning. We got 3 of the games are long games, but 3 of them are really short.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have been playing Dissidia NT. I played it yesterday and I played it today for a few hours each, and I am almost finished with the game already.
Jesus.
It's gonna happen, so get your questions and reviews for Dissidia NT ready, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we can review Dudekheim 012 12 Dose.
Yeah.
Svelv. Junie.
XII.
XII Final Fantasy. So should we begin with, you got any info on the development?
Yeah, so I mean, the game initially came out on March 3rd, 2011 in Japan and the 22nd of March in the U.S., and like we mentioned before, it serves as sort of a prequel and a remake of the original, which features the 12th War of the Gods, and then moves into the 13th cycle. And each of these is like, it's similar to, it's a fun play on Final Fantasy I's storyline, in my opinion, because we know the original Dissidia game is taking place in the world of Final Fantasy I the whole time, and it's like a prequel to FF1 almost. I think this is kind of a fun spin on Final Fantasy I's entire theme, because we run into cycles of this never-ending war between Chaos and fuck man.
Chaos
What's her
and
name?
Fuck man.
Yeah, Chaos and fuck man. No, Chaos and Cosmos. They should not be the same letter. It's just
Chaos
not
and
natural.
Cosmo Kramer in an all-out battle.
Yeah. And I kind of like that idea. I like what they did with that. But, you know, the interesting thing about this game, about Dudekheim, the development for it initially started in August of 2009, which is pretty not long after the initial game released. And Square Enix staff kind of wished to improve on the previous game's gameplay while also providing the player with a more balanced experience. They brought back a lot of the same soundtrack, and they gave us a new list of characters as well. I mean, of course, the game didn't come out until 2011, but it featured lightning in it and all these other concepts that they didn't really have yet.
Yeah.
So it was interesting in that way that this idea was basically planted immediately after Dissidia came out. Especially given the fact that in the original Dissidia, they have a character for 11 and for 12. And it's just kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like not really it's weird that they didn't put lightning in Dissidia OG, and I think we talked about that last time. And one of the reasons why is because they didn't want that
a couple months before.
Yeah, it was like real close, and they didn't really want it to be.
They didn't want players' first experience with lightning to be from a spin-off game.
Yeah, and I can't blame them, because lightning in this game is like so pissy, like all the time, like even pissier than she is in 13. You know.
I think it was mostly they didn't want to give away any of their gameplay mechanic stuff that was going on in the game.
Yeah, I could see that.
In some way, like, she's got the moveset of herself in 13, and she can, like, switch classes and stuff like that. And they kind of kept that stuff under wraps quite a bit. So, yeah, I guess that was their kind of way of, like, keeping the character secret.
Yeah, that or
giving you something to look forward to in the game, not giving away half the gameplay.
Yeah, that or they completed Dissidia before they finished work on 13, because we know 13 was like a rushed project.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, most of 13 was in the last like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, Lightning does feel like she is. In that respect, it does feel like she is the most polished character of all of them, because they made her for the first game and chose not to keep her in there. I think that was what we read last time, so it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, she's the character we return to the most as well. She's got like 2 campaigns and not just one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she's also probably the best character to play, but you might have a different opinion on that when we get to gameplay. But yeah, that all kind of makes sense. It's interesting that they immediately made a remake to a game that they just put out.
I know. Well, they at least immediately started thinking about it. It's like, do you really have that many regrets? Like, instantly after the game comes out, they're like, oh my god, we should have made that so much better. Let's make another one.
Yeah, they should have put a different writer on it for sure.
Oh yeah, the writers. I don't think they should never work
English
again.
Side.
Whoever fucking translated that first game should just simply not work anywhere. I'm talking like burgers, fucking writing, anything. They should just be exiled. We should bring back the ancient Roman tradition of just, or it's either Roman or Greek, of just banishing someone for life. Like you put, everybody gets to vote, and like whoever has the most votes gets banished.
Yeah, it's just bad writers.
Yeah, it's only for bad writers though. Like you can't banish the president or like a congressperson or anything, or somebody famous. It has to be a writer. It's very exclusive.
God.
There are others that we have come into contact with that are up there too. Like Tommy Wiseau would be. I don't know if he'd have a home anymore, but yeah, we should enact that. That's number 4 on my list of things I'm going to do when I become president. The first.
You mean when you become emperor? Because that's what that would take.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that would never fly. Like,
actually, what you have to
about?
do is become president, and within 4 years, make it like illegal to vote for anyone else. You know?
Yeah. You have to become president, and then you could become emperor. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, it's a good stepping stone too.
Yeah.
You know, like who was it? The dictator in Rome. Like they would retire and they would be senators for life. And I always thought that was like a really good idea. And that was something that we didn't take from them.
Yeah, we took a lot from them. Yeah, but that's
when the person in charge of the executive branch retires, they don't become part of the Senate for life. I always thought I don't know. I think that's actually like a really good idea. It kind of keeps stability. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. The hard part is though,
tangent.
like where would you put them? Just like have the DC. You would make DC a representable area.
Exactly.
That's a good idea. There would only be 2 of them. So we've got Carter and
like 4.
Oh, 3.
At the
There'd
moment,
be 3 right now.
There were 6 for a brief period.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway.
God, the DC would have the most power in the entire country at that rate. That'd be OP, man.
It would be OP. What were we talking about before I spun off? Talking about Final Fantasy Dissidia 012 Dude Time.
Yeah, Dude Time, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Careful with that J word.
Juni is, I believe that's Japanese for 12. Yeah, it's Juni. It's definitely Juni. So, Dude Kind. Schweiss, any other information on the development?
Not really. I mean, the game's soundtrack was composed, I say that in air quotes, of course, by Takeharu Ishimoto, directed by Mitsunori Takahashi, produced by Ichiro Hozama, and programmed by Ryuji Ikeda. And the people responsible for the slightly better script were Akiko Ishibashi, God, that is hard, Saori Itamuro. So 2 people working on the script. Oddly enough for me, it didn't bother me as much. Like the script in the original one was, it was god awful, but in this it had a flow the whole way through. So that's really it as far as development goes on the game, though. There's not a whole lot on it other than the fact that they like instantly regretted their decisions or like wish they would have done more, and then they said, "Screw it, we're gonna release it again in a weird ass format."
I could have done more.
Yeah. This pin, ring? How many more could I have saved?
How many more could I... Okay, so the original game, I'm going to see if there's an overlap. What were the writers of Dissidia 012? Dude-Time?
The writers were Akiko Ishibashi and Saori Itamuro.
Okay, neither of those wrote on the first one.
See? Fucking, I didn't even have to look at it. I was like, no, these aren't the same people.
There were 3 writers on the first game, and somehow, like, there was no quality control. What the fuck? What happened here? Okay, Daisuke Watanabe, Harunori Sakemi, and Motomu Toriyama. No thanks to any of you people, by the way.
Yeah. Seriously.
Motomu Toriyama, by the way, worked on FF7.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds familiar. Although I know Toriyama is the big Dragon Quest guy. That's not the same Toriyama, though.
It's not the same Toriyama.
Pretty positive. He wouldn't have been like, yeah, I'll write the script for this Final Fantasy spin-off bullshit. And then he's like, haha, Final Fantasy sucks. Here's a shitty script.
The last thing he did that wasn't a special thanks was Mobius Final Fantasy. He was the director of that. And wrote the lyrics? Wrote some lyrics, apparently.
Huh.
Okay. Oh, he directed Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. So that's what
yeah.
Seeing some bad writing overlap. That's
God.
Good.
Oh, no. Oh, God. It's all coming back. Just the little messages from Hope as you're trying to run through the town, especially when you know the game and you know which quests are really fast, and it's just a wall of Hope talking and like saying nothing the entire fucking time. Just light, hey light, hey light, 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 light. Oh, it makes so much sense. And like in the last playthrough I made before I completed the game, it was like the only time that he was interrupted was when he cut himself off to start talking about something else. And I was like, God. It makes sense.
That's right. I remember that now. Okay. The other writer... So there's one writer who doesn't have a Wikipedia page. The other writer, believe it or not, worked on FF10. So I can only imagine that it's the one writer without the Wikipedia page that did the final polish. Because these two guys have some good work behind them. I don't know what the fuck happened with the original Dissidia, but...
I don't know.
Wow, it's really bad. But yeah, totally new writers for Dissidia 012, Dudekheim Dose, Juni, Svelv, Final Fantasy. So, do you want to get into the story of the first scenario?
Let's do it. All right, so a real bare bones on the storyline in this. It's a pretty fast playthrough, so there's not a lot going on. Essentially what it is it's a prequel to Dissidia, and we get to kind of see the making of the mannequins that are the weird, I guess, mannequins of the characters in the game.
Yeah, you also get to see Prompto. I believe that was part of it as well. Like, he's on a conveyor belt somewhere. It's like a bonus thing.
Oh, yeah, a little Prompto nod, yeah.
Yeah.
So we get kind of
about that. It's bullshit. Sorry.
So, I mean, it's really just kind of building the world that we got to experience in Dissidia. You have a whole new cast of characters for the good guys. It's Lightning, Vaughn from 12. We have Kane from FF4, which is awesome. And then Tifa from FF7. Fucking God. And then, of course, last and definitely least, Laguna from FF8.
Fuck, Laguna.
I know, and it's really crazy. Like, I was surprised at how short the game was. I mean, going into this thing, I assumed everything was going to be about the number 12. You know, it was going to be 12 dudes, 12 campaigns, 12 this, 12 that. But it ended up being nowhere near as many characters and nowhere near as long of a game. But you kind of go through and you're seeing them kind of gather the forces, and Kane is weirdly possessed and like puts people to sleep in order to save them for the battle to come. It's like some weird fucked up cryostasis program that he's running. And like Kane and the rest of the guys eventually face off against the mannequin horde that comes for him, and they try to protect Cosmos. And in the very end, Cosmos just kind of like puts a shield around her and Warrior of Light, and they get saved, but she's super weakened, and then it kicks off the original Dissidia campaign.
Yeah, there's not much to this. There's like some like character stuff. Like Vaughn is like kind of arrogant. He's somewhere in between the Vaughn of FF12 and the Vaughn of Revenant Wings. I'm not sure like at what point in his career was he stolen away into this crazy universe, parallel universe thing. But so Vaughn had some interesting character stuff, and Laguna, of course, he seduces Cloud of Darkness.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be a funny part, and I was like, wow, Laguna, this is great. But then she's totally DTF, dude.
Yeah.
She's down with Laguna.
Which, understandable. From Laguna's point of view, I guess. Laguna... I guess this is in gameplay, right? Laguna is terrible.
Yeah.
And he's a bad mark upon the entire game. But yeah, there's not that much there. So in the first game, there was they had each of their little storylines as they would go along, and then there would be like an overarching story that would go in whatever order that you wanted to. This game is totally linear. You're going in as a certain character. They have a small little arc, and they have their own enemy that they have to fight, which is not the enemy from their own game.
Yeah, oddly enough.
And
in one case, it's their fuck buddy with Laguna fighting Cloud of Darkness.
That's right. She doesn't become the fuck buddy until she's defeated.
That's true. Yeah. What I mean, you fight her again at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, you fight her again. So they each have that. Each of these, like, what is there? 6 characters or 5 characters?
Yeah, I think it's 6. I think it's yeah.
And there's only 8 chapters in this game. It's like 7 chapters in what's called an epilogue, which is really just like it's you putting together the party you want in the order that you want to fight with. So your best character first, second best character second, and then, my God, if those 2 die, then I guess you have to move on. But you're never going to be that weak. And yeah, it's a really short campaign, and there's not too much going on. But at the end, like, all your characters face off against their own bosses once again. And so it's who's Vaughn against? It's like Vaughn against...
it's Vaughn... God, I just barely did it. It's so weird, though. It's weird the way they have it set up. Oh, I think it was Emperor, wasn't it?
I think you might be right. Anyway, that's 5.
Also, there's Yuna, so there are 6 characters.
Okay.
Or 6 or 7. I think it's 7.
All I remember is at this point is Cloud of Darkness versus Laguna over and over again, and then Lightning versus Garland right at the end.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Like lineup for fights. You know, Laguna versus the guy from the lady from FF3, and then Lightning versus the character from FF1.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like I don't know, like an opposite side of the aisle sort of a matchup.
No, might be.
And Yuna, yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird, and I thought it was an interesting idea that they went with totally different characters for this game. And I guess with it being a prequel, it sort of makes sense. But if they're trapped in an endless cycle, I mean, I guess we're left to believe that the cycle, when you're within one particular cycle, you don't go into the other one. But all of that seems to be thrown out the window with NT. As far as I remember, you can just play as anybody.
Yeah, it's like some other universe thing. Weird in NT.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite lined up in the timeline like this one is. But yeah, the story was the writing was a vast improvement. The dialogue, much more bearable to listen to overall, and it didn't have like the corny narrator in between each chapter like it did the first one. It has a corny narrator that pops up every once in a while, but it's not as bad as in the first game.
No.
So like everything story-wise or cutscene-wise was way more palatable than the first game. So I actually had the sound on a little bit in this game. I know the last time I didn't play with the sound on very much at all, but I had it on in this game a little bit just to compare, and yes, in fact, the cutscenes are much better. Dialogue is much better. The characters are less awkward, and just everything overall is just way better on the story end of things.
Yeah, I mean, even the little messages that they give each other before the fight starts, you know, they're little, like, shit-talking moments that they all have. They make sense in this game, whereas in the last game, it was just kind of their pre-programmed, oh, this is what this character says, this is what this character says before the fight. Now they've made it to where they actually have a little bit of banter, you know? I mean, in the Cloud of Darkness versus Laguna fight, she says something about death coming for everyone, and he's like pulls his gun out, and he's like, I got your death right here, you know? You know, like, it's not the greatest line ever, but it's cohesive, and that's something that we didn't get whatsoever in the first iteration of Dissidia.
Now, I had my sound off most of the time. There was a line that you were constantly complaining about.
Oh, man, dude, it's when Tifa wins a match, and like for some reason, I think this is why I had to put the game down for so long. When Tifa wins a match, there's like a 50% chance that she'll say something normal, and then there's a 50% chance that she'll say like, "You need to train more." Just kidding. It's like, I'm like, what? Like, you need to train more. First of all, that doesn't really make sense because we're fighting mannequins. We're fighting pretend people here, so they don't train. They just fall apart and die.
That's why she was first, like, just kidding, bro.
Yeah, but then the just kidding, I'm like, God, it was so grating and like awkward. And it's like that moment in FF10 too when LeBlanc is getting her fucking back massage. She's groaning like she's got the Fistinator 3000 like just deep in there, just fucking. It's like, it's that awkward. It's one of those things where I just like cringe, and I'm like, nah, why? Why do you have to do that? Why? Who the fuck said yes to this? Like, God!
Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. And it's like, I don't know why it makes me so mad, but it's just, God, it's so ridiculous. That's like the worst thing in the game, though, as far as the writing goes. And like, I feel like the first Dissidia, all of it was terrible. You know, like, it might not have all been as angering as this, but it was all pretty bad. The nice thing about this game's story, though, is it's all kind of one fluid motion. It's all the baddies gathering the mannequin army, creating it to fight off the good guys and ultimately defeat Cosmos. Whereas the first game, I felt like all of the initial scenarios were a giant waste of time. They were all just characters meeting up in awkward situations. It's almost like what Game of Thrones does, but it's abysmal. It's like two characters that would never be together. You'd never imagine them together. Get stuck together for like half a season, and you get to watch as they, you get to have fun as they sort of interact with each other, and like they're just completely opposite people. But in Dissidia, original Dissidia, it's just terrible. It's like two terrible people with terrible dialogue. Like, there's no world building whatsoever. It's just random stages, and we're expected to believe that, like, these characters are, like, spying on the bad guys having a secret meeting on this stage, and then we're instantly on another stage. It's, like, in a completely different world, and it's like, God, what does this place look like? Like, what the fuck is happening here? How are you sneaking up on anyone? Like, I don't get it. And this one, it all felt like it worked.
Well, they also got, like, for that specific thing, they do have, like, a world map sort of a situation. With, like, these, like, hell gates that you have to go through. And some are red, some are blue, and that's kind of like what moves the battles forward. But there is like a world map sort of thing, so you kind of get the feeling like this is what the world looks like right here, and then there's like these chaotic realms, I guess, or gates that you have to go through. Kind of like the miasma in Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Something like that, but yeah. Yeah, I think, mostly more cohesive. Obviously, like, they got rid of the non-linearness of the first one for something really linear.
Yeah. The entirety of it was like the prologue, or the epilogue chapters of original Dissidia, where it was like, okay, now we're moving forward. It's not just everyone getting to the same spot with useless dialogue along the way. It's the meat and the potatoes, whereas before all we were getting was the broth.
Do you want to talk about gameplay?
Yeah, man, let's talk about gameplay.
Alright, Schweiss. Well, after Dissidia, the original Dissidia, immediately after I beat it, I popped in Dissidia 012 Dude Kind.
You did. I was chatting you up.
Yeah, that's right. You were chatting me up. You were lubing me up as well.
Yeah.
And I got in there, and I started the game, and with one exception, which was like the limit break system, where you get like someone else in the party for a second by pressing square and the trigger.
Yeah, the assists. Yeah.
It was exactly the same. Except it looked better. There was a little less flying around. The stages were a little more flat. And less, like, insane. And
yeah.
Overall, I was just like, oh, this is the exact same game that I just played. And you know what? I played it all the way through, and I didn't notice. I know that they say they've changed, like, a bunch of physics stuff, but whatever they changed, I don't think was a detriment to it. I thought that it played exactly like the first game as I remembered it, only, like, I don't know, I liked some of the characters more, and how they played, like, I don't know, it just felt kind of smoother to me, and I liked the new setup. Instead of the 5 floors per chapter thing, it's going through, and you can hit things to get, like, chains, and get treasure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All those added things I liked, and I liked the gameplay, which was almost exactly the same, like 5% more.
Yeah,
So.
the nice thing about this game is we do have a smaller cast, and of course there are 2 unlockable characters through extra gameplay stuff, and it's Prish from FF11, which is awesome, and then Gilgamesh from FF5, and I guess Feral Chaos is a baddie you can get, and Aerith from 7 you can get, but she's assist only kind of a thing, and that's something you have to buy. That's a purchasable Dudekheim DLC. DLC Dudekheim downloadable from the interwebs to your PSP for a small fee. 012. Yeah, so there's like there's some more characters, some different characters, and the really cool thing about this game's gameplay is I liked most of the characters. I know there are fewer characters than there were in the original one, but the way they play worked out really well. The only one that I hated was Laguna, and it's just because he's like a mid to short range guy, or like he's just all over. I don't know, man. And
Laguna,
his guns.
Look, lightning is smooth, right? Vaughn is pretty cool because he like makes like a hand come up out of nowhere and like smack people around. That was pretty sweet. Yuna's great. Everybody's great. Tifa's great. It's all fantastic.
Kane is amazing too. Kane is so fun.
I thought Kane was alright. But yeah, Laguna comes up in the game, and suddenly the game is ridiculously hard. And the reason is because Laguna is shit.
Yeah.
Not only is Laguna shit in the original game that he comes from, they also decided to take that shittiness and put it into this game and make it so that you have to play him, and the second to last boss is his boss. So you have to play that fucker twice, which was really hard the first time and really hard the second time. So yeah, He's got, so in Dissidia, you're bringing up your own, like, hit number or whatever. I'm not sure what it's called. And you're trying to get a really high number and then use an HP attack, which is a separate type of attack, in a weak moment for them so that you then take down their actual HP after that.
Yeah, it's bravery.
You gotta, like, hit them a lot. You hit them a lot to get the number up, and then you try to hit them before they hit you and take that HP down really quickly, or in big chunks, right? Like, that's kind of the goal of the game. Now, with everybody else, they got, like, a good, close range attack that gets them, like, a good few combo-y sort of hits on them, and it staggers the enemy for a second, and it's all great, and you're just, like, gaining numbers up, and, you're dodging away, and then you can go up and attack them. With Laguna, however, his is like a max of 3 on the combo thing, unless you hold down the button, which you have to be, like, very lucky to hit that hold down thing and have them actually in your sights in order to get, like, a decent combo on there. And it is, like, it's not quite long ranged enough to be, like, comfortable, where you're, like, not gonna get hit by the enemy immediately, but it's also, like, I don't know, it's not short range enough to make that, like, triple combo thing, 'cause you only hit them 3 times with the bullets. It's not close enough to be satisfying at all. So
yeah.
you, like, it's just like, bup, like, you'll get, like, a small little combo, and, like, and Laguna, like, he's shit at everything, so he's, like, his regular is, like, HP attack, leaves him open like crazy, and you get smacked by the Cloud of Darkness, because the Cloud of Darkness has a bigger range than you do, with the fucking, like, tentacle things coming out, or whatever the circle of death is on that lady, and also the wall of death, thank you very much, which of course you cannot get out of the way from, because you're Laguna, you can't be super far away and be attacking this lady, you have to be kinda close.
Yeah, you gotta get that dodge down.
So it's like, it's the worst. It's the worst. You can't get that number very high very easily. And then you're left open when you're doing, like, the big attacks. And the big attacks are, like, shitty and inaccurate. So, everything about Laguna is awful. And honestly, everything about this game is an improvement on the first game. I was told the opposite when we played this game. And I think in our reviews, I think someone feels that way as well. But I played this thing and I was like, this is way better. It's everything from the first game, just, like, improved by, like, 15%.
Yeah, and they made the characters have their own feel, whereas in the first game it was like there are 4 of them that feel unique, and then the rest of them are just, like, oddly similar to each other, but not really their own thing, And those 4 were strong in the original game, but in this one, all of them are strong except for fucking Laguna.
Except for Laguna, who is the worst in all 3 games. I'll say it now. All 3 games. Laguna is the worst character ever. He's fucking terrible. He's fucking terrible and clunky. It's not like me and Schweiss as separate game players. Like, Schweiss gets really good at him, and I'm like, I don't get it. It's not like someone getting good at sniping versus, like, someone really good at the machine gun in like a shooter game. It's not like that. Okay? This guy is objectively bad. There's nothing good about Laguna in Dissidia 012, Dudekheim, Jose, Svelv, Junie. There's nothing. There's nothing good about it. And I'm really fucking angry that, like, I can't... This game went fucking smooth, man. Like, the final boss in the last game took me 108 tries, remember?
Yeah,
Final boss in this game, which was Lightning versus Garland. And Garland is, like, 20 levels above what I was at. 2 tries to get him. And it's because, well, Lightning's awesome. I've gotten good at the game since I played the first one, yada, yada, yada. Even I read a guide, and they were like, Garland is so much harder than everybody else in this entire game.
Oh, bullshit.
And I was like, no. Actually, Garland's quite easy. But that was after, like, the hour of playing Laguna on his final boss, which is Cloud of Darkness. The true final boss. And you know what? I played Cloud of Darkness for like 2 hours on his own campaign before that. So, like, the amount of time I've had to play Laguna fighting Cloud of Darkness is 1/3 of this fucking game with 6 characters in it.
I believe it, dude, because I remember that's the wall I hit when I was in the hospital after my son was born. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, at first I was like, yeah, Laguna's clunky, and, like, I've lost a few times, and of course I get really mad when I lose, because the game's, like, it's butter smooth until Laguna.
Yeah.
You know, and then suddenly it's like chunky peanut butter, but it's butter, so you're just like, what the fuck is this? What's going on in here? And then you get to Cloud of Darkness, and it's like, oh my god.
It's eating straight peanut butter with nothing to drink, bro.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
like, I can see why he seduced her, because he's like, I can't fucking win against this lady. I'm gonna have to fuck her. You either beat him or you fuck him. Like, and that's the path he chose. It didn't work though. I guess he was a Yeah, they gotta beat him or you gotta fuck him. And he must have underperformed in the bedroom because she came back with a fucking vengeance at the end of the game. And I was like, there was no chance. Like, the first 6 times I tried her, I was like, dude, I barely touched her. Because she has the fucking, the one summon that just fucking nukes your, or it either nukes you or it nukes the number in the middle, like that's like the fucking free parking. Fucking, I don't know what it is. It's like free parking bravery. Like you get a hit off and like suddenly the bravery. Yeah, it's like I don't know what the fuck that is in there. It's like a fucking house rule in this fucking game. I'm like, okay, you just got numbers on the screen and you pull up a fucking summon and the numbers disappear. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. But she would do that, and then like I would just get the wall of death. Took me a while to figure out how to dodge. And then even when you get used to her long-range stuff, because you're trying to, like, keep your distance with Laguna, like, you'll hit her with something, and she'll do the fucking tentacle, she'll launch at you, and, like, you have half a second to get the fuck out of there, or she's going to do her tentacle thing that breaks you, like, half of the time. And I left after dying, like, 6 times. I was like, hey, I did nothing with that, and I went and got the like ×5 bravery thing, and I went in and I still had to fight her like 10 fucking tries, dude. And I ended up just having to chunk her. I just like chip away at the Cloud of Darkness. I'd land a big hit in the very beginning so that I wouldn't get my fucking precious starting bravery just ripped away from my fucking hands like a small child with a lollipop, and Cloud of Darkness is like the fucking big brother just ripping it out of my helpless hands and just eating it in front of me. And then I just slowly chunked her away till I won. But yeah, dude, it was sick. And I beat Garland in the first try. You know, I almost died to him, but like I beat him the first time. And, like, there's no reason why Cloud of Darkness is so fucking hard in this game. And
the only reason is because Laguna is shit.
Yeah, he's
a shit character, and he's shit to play in FF8, and he's a shit character in FF8, and fucking he's a shit character in this game, and he's shit to play as well.
Yeah, I love how he brought up his. He brought up his cramped
leg.
Oh,
my leg is cramping. Oh my god! I've been talking so long that I fell asleep. Oh.
Yeah. I know, and it's funny because one of his victory cries is, hey, my leg isn't cramping anymore. And I was like, I started laughing out loud at that. I was like, what? That's almost as bad as just kidding. It's like fucking almost just kidding parallel. But, oh man, yeah, the one that was a real big surprise to me, though, and I enjoyed quite a bit, was Yuna. When I saw Yuna's playstyle, I was like, oh, this is going to be awful. Because you do your little circle moves, your bravery attacks to build up that bravery bar to land your HP hit, and it's the summons from FF10 that come out. And at first I was like, oh god, this is gonna be awful. But I actually had a lot of fun playing as Yuna, and she's actually I think she's one of my favorite characters in Dissidia Dudekheim. So I felt like each campaign was very refreshing as I was going along and kind of getting used to the characters, until, of course, I got to
the ultimate refreshment.
Yeah, the ultimate
leg
refreshment. The ultimate refreshment experience. Like a fucking Sprite commercial. That's what they need in FF15 next.
You've never had to deal with this before.
But now you can with the ultimate freshness. Crisp. Delightful.
My leg. Hey, maybe that's why his stuff is so much more difficult. His leg is cramping up the whole time.
Yeah. I didn't like Tifa's play style that much either, but I didn't go in and edit her moveset at all. And usually I do in these games, and I think when I played Tifa, I just played her so fragmented over like the last month that I just fucking didn't.
I really like her. What do you call that ultimate move where you press square and then you go into the move where you can hit them like a bunch?
Oh, her limit break thing? Yeah, that was awesome. Thing. Yeah, the ultimate slot machine.
Hers is amazing. I really dug that. It's just like in FF7 where you have the slots. Only you get like 1 million of them, and you just like keep going through and you hit them every time with those things. It's a great attack.
Yeah, they kept the limit breaks very similar to the previous game. The controls are almost the same. The gameplay does feel a little bit different in this, but it's basically identical. And I think it's a little bit crisper than the first game. There's less bullshit flying around. It's kind of a little bit more refined, I would say. And shit, what do you rank the characters like as far as like your favorite?
I mean, they gave me a lot of lightning, so I got good at lightning. So lightning's number 1, and then probably Vaughn, Yuna, Tifa, and I feel like I'm missing someone, but Laguna's last.
Kane. The best one, I liked Kane a lot because I thought his gun gear move was like insanely good. But I think I might actually like Lightning more. I think Lightning is the best character, and it's probably because we got good at Lightning. But I like her versatility. I like her speed. It's cool to be able to paradigm shift in this game. I didn't really use it that often, though. I usually just stayed in Commando, and that was easy enough to win. But it gives her sort of an element of added versatility, because you can get those ranged hits off by switching to Ravager and hitting him with the magics, which I did a few times. But
I tried switching one time, and I was like, the Ravager is not for me. Yeah. So I stayed in Commando the entire game.
Yeah, and Medic is terrible.
I do like beat stick characters, though, in this entire series. I used to kind of be the opposite before we started the show, and then as we've been going through the show, probably since the first game, FF1, with the Red Mage and Warrior duo taking up my party in the first Final Fantasy, ever since then, it's just been like attacks.
Yeah.
Straight up attacks. Fuck magic. Fuck status. Fuck summons, just focus on brutal attacks, and that's, in most of the games, that's kind of the way to win it quickly. Even like fucking Tactics, where you gotta get the ninja with the ridiculous sword.
Yeah, it still ends up being beat stick, yeah.
Yeah. The only one I don't think I did that in is like FF6 with the Ultima spells and the multicast.
Yeah, I went beat stick route that time.
Yeah, you did.
I like the 3D world map that we get in this game, and we actually get it for the prequel storyline as well. So that kind of breaks up the monotony of the endless quasi chessboard that we got. They of course still have that chessboard, but in this game you can actually get some fucking points to unlock some extra stuff. Whereas in the first game, I felt like it was like impossible to get the rewards at the top of the screen, because you have to fulfill certain parameters to get like your DP back or whatever in OG Dissidia. And in this one, there were like way more opportunities to chain enemies together. Like you had more abilities that you could send out like a force wave around you, and you could hit like six or seven guys, and then each time you hit one and you chained it with another one, it would double. So it would be like, the first one you get 1 point, then you get 2, then you get 4, 8, 16, and you can get a lot of these points. This KP is what it's called, and you can buy special shit from the Moogle vendors around the world map. So you have Gil, you've got the DP, you've got the KP. It's like, it's a bunch of different things, and this game rewards you much more fairly, I felt, than the original Dissidia. Like, the original Dissidia, it's like, yeah, we have these boss characters, but there's no need to fight them. Like, you don't get shit from fighting these boss guys. Like, there's items behind them, and God knows what those items are, because we couldn't fucking fight for shit in the first game.
That's true. Totally
but in this one, it's like you chain them together, and then you get a bunch of those Kupo points, I imagine they're called. I think it probably told us at one point. And then you can buy stuff to make your characters OP in the final fights. You know, you can buy abilities, you can buy new outfits and stuff. There's like a ton of stuff you can buy from there, and then you still get the gil. You can buy your weapons and upgrades that way. The game just has a lot more in it than the original Dissidia.
Yeah.
And the assist thing I thought was cool too. You'll have the assist character as like a companion on the world map. They'll be running around, and then they'll be on the little quasi chessboard with you, and you can call them down, and they can help you chain, or they can rescue you from a chain. And they kind of add a new element of fighting that's similar to Atreus kind of in God of War, where like you can just bring him in to do a little extra damage to get him off of you for a second. It's less often used, obviously, in this game, but it's kind of a nice little added gameplay element. So they just kind of like refined everything and then added a few pieces here and there to the original game, and I think it plays better for it.
I do too. I think with the big exception of Laguna, everything in this game is an improvement upon the original. My condolences with those who believe that the first game was an untouchable masterpiece and that this one sucks, but I have no idea where you're coming from. No idea.
Yeah, honestly, they're almost the same in my mind, but this one's just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So there's one more thing in gameplay that I want to bring up, though.
Yeah, go
ahead. The fucking replay save, dude. All right, this is a function that this game has, and I don't know how I get there. I mean, I do, because I booted it up while we were podcasting here, and I was like, all right, let's get to this screen so that I can actually read what takes place. So I usually play this game on break. I'll walk out to my car, I'll have like 6 minutes to play, and it's beautiful because you just like turn the quick power on the PSP on, you got the game up, it's booted, it's ready to roll, it's super fast. I downloaded the game. I spent 6 years doing the data install so that I could play this game with like reasonable load times. And it's just super lightning quick, and it's great, you know. I sit down, I win a fight, and I don't know what it is, like I just don't want to look at the screen when I win a fight. I'm like, I don't need to see the level thing, so I'll like look up, look around, look outside, just kind of like roll my neck around, like stretch it out because I've been hunched over the screen for the last 3 minutes. And then I suddenly look back down to my PlayStation Portable, and I'm in the loop again. And the fucking loop, for some reason, some unholy, ungodly reason, I press the fucking square button, which is the save replay button, which is horrifying. I still don't know how to get out of this thing. And like, you have the option to save your fucking replay from your match, which, why? First of all, who the fuck wants to save a replay of a match? Like, oh, look, I got proof I beat this. It's like the game fucking tells you when you beat anything of note, so you don't need to have the replay. But like, and it's like, I don't even mean to do it. I just look down and I'm there. I'm like in the sunken place of fucking save replay. And I've got the screen in front of me here. I have no replay saved because through all the confusion, I've still somehow managed to not save a replay. But I have two options on the screen: enter or back. So I'm going to press back because I don't want to save the replay. And it says, do you want to cancel save? And so I'm like, okay, yes. I press yes to that. And it says, data has not been saved. Proceed to the save and deletion screens. And I'm like, what? And so I press no. And then it asks, abort saving, yes or no. And that's the right way to go. That's the fucking right way to go. But if you do on the data has not been saved, proceed to the save and deletion screen and press yes. Then it says proceed to save. Selecting no will take you to the deletion screen. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing to me? Like, why are you fucking with me in this fucking way? Like, what screen is what? Like, where the fuck am I? It's just, oh god, it's a loop. And then it's, selecting no will take you to the deletion screen, so I hit no. And then it's like, proceeding to file deletion screen, at least 160 KB of space. I'm like, fine, whatever. And then it's back. And then it just shows me all the save data on my PSP, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, why am I here? From there, I can press back, and then it asks again, proceed to the save and deletion screen. Fucking no, abort saving, fuck yes, and now I'm free. And dude, like just now, that is the most competent I have been at getting out of that fucking screen ever. It's horrible. It's like, I almost want to cry. I'm like, why? Why is this here? It's like, I just lose my mind every time it happens, and I just want to like break down and weep. It's so fucking painful.
I think I did that once in the original game and once in this game.
God, dude.
And all I thought was like, oh, that's a really weird system. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm out. Like, you accidentally get out. Just like you went in.
Yeah, it's like one of those fucking, like, metal class things that they're like the three different shapes or, like, animals that are, like, on top of each other. And, like, if you look at them while you're doing it, you can't get them separated. But if you look away, like, your hands will magically pull them apart. And, like, it's like this fucking secret. Like, you can't do it unless you're not looking. And it's like the fucking PSP is like my Samsung phone, and when I look away from it, the screen darkens. Like, when I look away from the screen, it goes to the fucking replay save screen, and it's like, ha! Just to fuck with me. God damn it, dude. I fucking hate it.
Real quick, design and music. Design, first off, this game looks way better than the original. Both in the cutscenes especially, but the gameplay looks better as well, and everything just kind of has like a much cooler palette. It's a lot more FF13-esque, I guess. Everything past 13 has kind of got this like crystally, shiny sheen to it in the Final Fantasy game. It's really interesting. I just noticed it today when I was playing Dissidia NT, and this game has that as well.
Yeah.
The main color for Final Fantasy went from that weird blue to gray, back to like blue again, blue and yellow, and then like now it's swung around to like silver, like bright silver menus and everything like that. But also the cutscenes. They look really great. There's not that many of them, but they look really great. And then in the first game, they were kind of like walking around in this like random ass world, and in this one, the environments just look a lot better. So everything about the look of the game is a lot better, gameplay wise and cutscene wise, and also the music. Although I didn't listen to much of the soundtrack of the first game, so I don't have much to compare. The music is really good in this one. Of course, it's just Final Fantasy tracks played over again. There was no like dorky in the final boss fight. There wasn't like a song, right?
Oh Jesus, no, there's not.
No, so I guess an improvement on the music as well.
Yeah, that song had me on tilt. That made it harder. It was like the save replay screen all over again with that fucking song. Yeah. But yeah, the game looks better. The only thing that hasn't really improved to me is the FMVs, because those I thought looked amazing in the first game. But you're right, the in-game cutscenes look great. The graphics are just enough better that you can totally tell when you throw it in. It's like, wow, this is beautiful PSP right here. And we're not talking like FF4 Complete Edition where it's remastered, NES or Super NES. It's like pure PSP, and it looks fucking good. Yeah. This game looks great. And I think the look of the stages are better. The fewer stages it felt, and like fewer random things going on with the stages. So that was a little toned down, but it was for the better, in my opinion.
That was one of the things that was like in the first game. Some of the stages had like these like huge pillars. They'd be like floating rocks everywhere, and like you get stuck in one spot, and you're just like, you're kind of fucked for like 30 seconds until you like get back to a more comfortable spot. In this game, there was one stage that had like a fuck you area in it, and it was like I think it was like an FF11 map, but it was like the stairway leading up, and then there was a drop down below. And then there was like a lip, though, underneath. And if you got underneath that lip and you were, like, still targeting the bad guy, like, that would get in the way. But other than that one level, like, the maps were so much more conductive to the fighting style of the game than in the first one. So I really appreciated that. I'm assuming that there are more stages and that you just like open them up when you play the other campaign.
Yeah, it would make sense. That's kind of how it's been so far. And I mean, I kind of dig the so we have the actual stage in which we fight, and I always kind of dug the little stages in the first game with the like the little quasi chessboard thing. And these ones do kind of a similar thing where the aesthetic of the chessboard is like themed around that character that you're playing as, and that kind of styling. And I kind of enjoyed that a lot. And of course the open world is great. It looks pretty good. There's stuff to do, like alternate paths to take to collect different items. It looks fine at the very least. You've got enemies running around in the field that you can engage. So I think the design, the look of it really kind of lent itself to that. And then, of course, the whole objective of just making it a better Dissidia kind of led into a lot of these things. And I feel like the design played a good part in that. It's a good-looking PSP game.
Yep, it is. And music, remixes of the old scores, thought they were pretty good, whatever I heard. Now, you're playing this at work in your car. I'm not taking this PSP to work. Not where I work. It's not a good idea.
Oh, it's not a good idea anywhere as far as I'm concerned.
That's probably, you're right. But, so I'm playing this in the living room, and, I don't know. I live with like 9 people, so the volume's gotta go down. If I can avoid it. So on this one I had to do that, but, overall improvements. Schweiss, we got a couple questions, if you want to get into those.
Questions for us. We would like to hear from you. To our forums. Don't contact us on Twitter. Get on and ask your questions. We'll answer them within week. This is the question segment. Ask and you will receive.
All right, so first up on questions. We asked for questions and reviews, and it looks like we only got the questions, which is fine.
On the forum, yeah. I got some stuff on Twitter, but...
Oh, okay. Do you want to do the Twitter ones first?
Sure. First question is, already done? You kidding me? I'm a think tank, yo. That's what Martin Marvel says. We're not kidding you. We're done.
Yeah, done for sure.
Austin Bracken asks, are you happy with this style of fighting game moving forward, or do you think they should make a more traditional 2D fighting game with FF characters? Like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, etc.
I mean, I don't know. I've played NT, and I didn't like what I played. Although I feel like now it's probably going to be easier, and I've confirmed this with Joe because he played most of it, what he has to play at least, already. And I think it's just got a different style, so I think that might be the biggest roadblock to the new one, is just not being used to what Dissidia is. And I kind of like that they've created an RPG fighting game, you know? I feel like if we went to a side-scroller, like 2D plane, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, just a regular traditional fighting game, I feel like a lot would be lost there. And I'm sure you can make it work with the RPG elements, with certain moves and like different sets and styles of play that you can alter the character to do. But I don't see it really working out super well. And I don't know if there's really a place for Dissidia moving forward, but I feel like if they were to do another one, I think it'd be fun to just keep improving on what they've done so far and kind of keep that separate style of gameplay alive, because we've got those other fighters if we want to play them, and those guys that make those are the masters of that type of fighting game. So I don't even know if Square Enix, wants to take a bite out of that, or if they can.
Yeah, I think the opposite. Certainly if they do another Dissidia, they kind of have to keep up with the thing that they already created and just improve on 012 Dudekheim. Definitely don't need... spoiler alert for our NT review, but... maybe the 3 characters at the same time wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. And it's the PS4 too, so it's kind of like sad. Like, we could have gone on the PSN and just like each of us verse each other in a one-on-one, and maybe that is an available thing. I haven't seen it in the menu in NT, but it would have been nice to have a one-on-one version that was a slight improvement on this one, something like that. And that's not what we got. So if they were to make another Dissidia, specifically part of this sub-series of Final Fantasy, then continue on this track. But you could also make a game called, like, Final Fantasy Fighter and fucking make it on a 2D plane, utilize some cool stuff from the series, and have something either like Mortal Kombat, like the newer Mortal Kombat games where it's like a faux 2D, 3D thing.
Yeah.
Or something like a Smash Bros, which might be more conducive to like the actual series that we're...
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
So, either way, I would like to see that version of a fighter just because that type of fighter is a little bit more hang out with your buds kind of a thing instead of, you have to figure out how to play this game and then we can talk.
Yeah.
Because the health system's really fucking weird. So.
That is true. I mean, if they... and like I said, I don't think another Dissidia is going to happen, personally. I think it's done. But if they were to do another game, I think it would be cool to see a fighting game like that. But I don't know if they will. The Final Fantasy, they've done so many different things with the series that I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually came out with one of those kind of Mortal Kombat-esque fighters. Just because we've seen so many different genres of games so far. And maybe that would be the better way to go. I don't know. I certainly like those games more, but I don't play crappy ones, so it's kind of hard to say, like we don't...
You don't play much Mortal Kombat Deception?
No, I don't play much Mortal Kombat, period, to be honest. So when I do play it, I play the ones that are highly recommended, kind of a thing. It's not a genre that I'm in, like real-time strategy or... I don't know. It's hard to. I'm not really into genres anymore. It's just like whatever the fuck everyone else is playing, I just pick up and join. So it's weird. But like, it's not something that I'd be dabbling in, and the occasional shit game would be a whatever thing for me. It's like, no, I'm going for the fucking cream of the crop because I don't play fighters.
Sure. Yeah, I get you. I mean, they could make a cream of the crop Final Fantasy. You never know.
True.
Although, considering the fact we've gone through almost every spin-off of the series, I think we do know.
Yeah.
We do know. All right, the Scott Spot asks... Oh, actually, it answered Douglas Hopkins first. Douglas Hopkins goes, did playing Duodecim make you more or less excited for playing NT?
I mean... If I were to take out the fact that I've already played NT and I hated the fuck out of it, I would probably say more, because this is a noticeable improvement over the original game, in my mind, in my opinion, in just about every way. I feel like when you're looking at a series or looking at a sub-series of games, and the second game is a little bit better than the first game, I think that automatically makes you look forward to the third game. And I know it's all subjective when it comes to that, but my experience with Dudekheim, yes, I would be excited to play NT if I did not know what NT was. So
yeah, I would have been excited for it if before Schweiss had not told me that it was hot garbage.
I should have not said anything.
Yeah, if he didn't say anything, then I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, I started it anyway. Like, I'm almost done with it already, but and it's definitely not as bad as Schweiss was saying, I think, but I was not excited to play it. I was excited, however, to beat it. And to get kind of ahead because we got behind on this podcast, on this game, particularly. So I was kind of like, I just want to go charge in on NT since I have another day off in a row.
Right.
So that's what I did. So it had nothing to do with like the excitement level of playing this last one.
Well, would you say that
the first game made me want to play the second one, but
okay.
not continuing on.
All right. Is that it for our Twitter questions?
No. The Scott Spot asks, how did you feel about the villain characters? Multiplayer? I guess those are two different questions.
I tried playing Garland and I got my ass handed to me. So I feel like they're decently balanced. Some of them are kind of unfair and unforgiving. Like Emperor is an asshole in this game and in the original game, and so is Cloud of Darkness. But overall, I think the villains are more fleshed out and less annoying in this game a little bit. Kefka still has his like Riku-esque air typing. He just like holds his hands out in front of him and like types on his invisible
he shows
keyboard.
his ass all the time in N2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he like pokes his ass out. And it's like makes some like quip. Like, you know how I like my meat? Well done! I just remembered that.
And he's like slapping his ass. Oh.
Yeah, and he's like shoving his ass at the screen. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So Captain, I can't even remember anything about the villains in the second game, but I'm remembering Kefka's ass from the game I'm playing currently. So there you go. There's my answer to the question.
Yeah, the best thing for me was the implied sex between Cloud of Darkness and Laguna.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty great.
Who needs to imply when you have internet?
I know, exactly. I'm sure it's a thing.
I'm sure it is too. Multiplayer. I didn't play any multiplayer.
No, not a bit of it. Unfortunately.
Drop. Yeah. So sorry. Schweiss, those are it for the Twitter questions.
All right,
and
so
we have no reviews this week. I just realized that, by the way. 0. We have a lot of questions though, so that's nice.
Yeah. Well, we have plenty of reviews for the show, which is awesome when we finally read them, but none for the game. Yeah, surprising. Like, what the hell, guys? This is an old one. So, Shinru, first up on the forum questions. Favorite new character? We already answered that one. Lightning for both of us. It's not really a new character, I suppose, but whatever. Did you feel like this game was necessary since the first one came out and it was fine as is? I mean...
Is anything in this world necessary?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it needed? I mean, entertainment is needed, but is this needed? And I would say no. But as far as the actual question is concerned, I don't think Dudekheim is necessary. I don't dislike it, and I do think it's an improvement over the first one, which was a fine game. As Shinru said, it was completely fine by itself. So I would say no, I don't think it's necessary. I do think it's better than the original one, but I don't think it was needed per se. What about you?
Is it necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but I do it anyway.
Exactly.
Because it's sterile and I like the taste. That's the wisdom of the movie Dodgeball, in case you're wondering what that is. But I think it really does sum it up. Almost nothing voluntary is necessary. but do it anyway because you like it. So I think that actually, like, as necessary as things go, like, we always wanted a Final Fantasy fighter before Dissidia came out.
Right.
I know there was some Final Fantasy characters in Air Gaze, but that was it. So it was kind of like, it was a long time coming then. So now it's kind of like, I think it's expected to every few years have a Final Fantasy fighter. And so, sure. Yeah, I guess it was as necessary can be in this situation.
Yeah. He asks, did you notice any differences in the gameplay, like buttons and physics? I think it just felt a little bit different. Like, it wasn't really like a big change for me. It was just a little bit smoother. But it's almost
whatever it was,
non-noticeable.
I thought was an improvement. Whatever it was, I thought was an improvement. So,
yeah.
That's where I'm at on that.
So the last one is, why do you think they abandoned this style of Dissidia fighting for the future games? I don't know if they did.
Fucking idea. They could have had a 3-person mode in online. They didn't have to make the whole fucking game 3v3.
I know. Everything else, from what I remember, is similar to these Dissidias in NT, but I don't know why they would do 3-on-3. Like, I guess here's what it is. It's that, oh man, Echoes of, no. The Crystal Chronicles one that was on
My Life as a Dark Lord, My Life as a King.
No, it's the
Echoes
one that
of Time, Rings of Fates.
Echoes of Time.
Crystal Bearers.
It's Echoes of Time. It's as lazy as the Echoes of Time fucking Wii version, where they just slapped the code from the DS, as far as we can tell, onto a fucking CD, and 2 screens were there to laugh at you for being stupid enough to buy it on the Wii. That's kind of how NT feels to me, because it initially was an arcade game in Japan, a very popular arcade game in Japan, and apparently that arcade game was a 3-on-3, which is fine for an arcade game, especially if it's a popular arcade game. But to bring it to a console and not change that 3-on-3 is madness. Like, that's absolute bullshit to not do that. I mean, you don't...
Well, they thought they had something right, I guess, if in fact that's the case.
I guess. I think they were just fucking lazy, and they wanted to put out whatever they could, and they had that ready, and so they're like, yeah, greenlight it, go. And then they just slapped it right back on as a disc in the same exact format, rather than giving us some quality of life by making it a one-on-one fight. Honestly, NT would be fine.
Now you're selling it.
Yeah. I think NT would be much better if it was one-on-one. I think it's not a terrible game, especially because we're used to the Dissidia style and the way things work in Dissidia. You just can't get used to 3 fucking people running around trying to kill you. It's just too much. It's a clusterfuck. It's just fucking madness, anarchy on the screen before you, and that's because of the 3. You know, I don't know why they abandoned it. They're fucking crazy. Or maybe they didn't really abandon it. They just decided that an arcade version would be fun, and then they decided that they wanted to make $200 off of some poor bastard from Utah with the fucking Hyper Collector's Edition that he regretted instantly, even upon opening the box before he even tried the fucking game out. I looked at what was in there, and I was like, yeah, that was not worth $200. And then I played the game, and I was like, definitely not worth $200.
Not even worth 2. Fuck this game.
This is bullshit. And now it's got a free version. So, like, the fucking game speaks for itself. You know?
Okay. Is that it for questions?
No, we have a section from Rudrose here. It says, on to the next Dissidia. All right, gents, my questions are as follows. What was your favorite addition to this game over the first Dissidia? The favorite thing to me, I think, was probably the world map. The singular thing. I mean, the characters were all great, except for Laguna. So I enjoyed the way they created new characters with different styles in this game, but I thought the world map was a fun, refreshing change from the original game.
I thought that the kind of on the same note, the fields, the battlefields, I thought were much better designed for play, and I got stuck a lot less on walls and shit than I did in the first game. I thought that was because the game is mostly the same. That's the biggest improvement, I think. Those battlefields. So.
Okay. What was your least favorite change about this game as opposed to the original?
Laguna as an addition to the character roster.
Okay. For me, I think it was the lack of a chaos fight. I mean, there was something to be said about listening to Joe die 100 times in the original Dissidia game over PSN chat while I played Madden 19. Like there's a certain joy there that I lost on this one because we both just smoked it at the end. It was just nothing.
Yeah, it just kind of ended.
Yeah, no credits either. It's just like it's like, all right, now go play the other game, and you're like, nah, it's okay. This is beaten. It counts. It's over. We're done here.
It's dude time.
Yeah.
IGN says that's where it ends, so that's where it ends.
That's right. IGN are the kings. What was there a character you liked in the first one that you didn't find as enjoyable to play this time around?
I didn't play any of the original characters again, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Do you play Kane in the original one? No, I don't think I do.
No, you can play. You can play as the others, but I think he's assuming we played through the OG campaign again.
No. That's bonus content, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, we're mostly here for the extra story stuff. That's why we did all the 11 expansions. That's why we're doing the 14 expansion. It's for the meat and potatoes, and that's just broth. Like I said earlier, it's just the same thing we had before.
I think it's more like the Parmesan on the top.
Oh yeah, it's completely optional.
You can spend a lot of time shaving off Parmesan when you should just be enjoying the meal. All right. That's
a beautiful analogy.
I know it's the best.
This is the analogy cast today. Yeah. Was there a character you dreaded facing in combat? Two.
Cloud of Darkness.
Yeah, Cloud of Darkness was a fear. And then also when I fought Lightning as Lightning, I was like getting so mad. I was like, Jesus Christ, Lightning is overpowered. So those two were the ones I feared. I would say I only dreaded Cloud of Darkness, though.
Yeah, there was a dread when I was realizing that I would have to play through every character again. I was like, fucking Laguna. And my fear was confirmed. It was atrocious. It was a horrible time.
Oh yeah, rough, dude. Oh my god. What was your favorite stage to battle on? I liked the last one, just where it's like a watery, flat area with the giant crystal above you. I thought that was kind of cool.
Agreed, because it's a big, flat plane that makes the gameplay a lot more, I don't know, it's just a lot better.
Yeah, and the
shit in the way.
Exactly, and the one thing that is in the way is the big crystal that's floating above the map, and half of the time that serves as like a saving grace, where if you're getting comboed like a motherfucker from a character, they'll slam you into that, and they'll stop being able to warp over to you and pull off their douche moves. That it's like I'm playing.
That was a thing. I don't even think I hit that crystal once.
Yeah, it can help you. That was the thing with Emperor that made him so dickish. It's like it's a Souls game. He like starts winding up his attack, but then he like pulls it back another half an inch, and then he smacks you with it. So you dodge at the wrong point, and you get fucking smacked in the next week. But I like that stage. I thought it was a good one. His final question: what was your least favorite stage?
I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's the one I talked about before.
Yeah, the one where you fall into the floor.
Yeah, there's two big pits, and there's like an underground area, and then like there's a big lip though, so it's not like so you can't just like go straight back up to the bad guy who's gonna be up on the stairs and the platform above. No matter
yeah, especially when you're trying to like kill him within a certain amount of time to get your KP, and it's like, well, now I can't because I fell down the fucking map, and I'm locked onto the bad guy, and of course I want to stay locked onto him so he doesn't sneak up on me, but I can't actually climb this fucking wall unless I'm not locked onto the guy. So that was, I just don't like that one. I don't know. Even the castle one outside I thought was a lot better. In the first game, it's really big and it has multiple levels, but it's never a level where you have to like. You can't get to it from any particular wall. You have to get to it like from the wall and then scale the wall and go in between the little gap to get out. Whereas with the castle level, it's like you just scale the wall and you're up. Yeah. You know, that's probably the worst map in the entire series so far.
No, the worst map is that crystally millions of pillars thing from the first game. And in my opinion, like there's so many fucking pillars in the way, and it's
yeah.
And the enemies are like getting as far away from you as possible.
Yeah, that was annoying. They're like, "Oh, you got to kill me in 10 seconds later. Good luck getting your points."
God. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Fair.
Is that it?
That is it for questions. All that
Okay.
remains is the legacy and our rankings. Legacy of the game, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of a mixed bag. I mean, our good friend Stolas, who does our artwork sometimes, told us that this game was his favorite of the Dissidias. He liked it more. He thought it was an improvement overall in every way from the original Dissidia game. But his save file tells a different story, because he sent his PSP memory stick, which was weird until I had my PSP stolen, and now it's like beautifully perfect that I just have a fucking memory stick duo. But his save file for original Dissidia, I think I said it was like 1,500 hours one time, but I think it's only 500, because I looked at it again. And this one is a mere 300.
Oh, a mere 300 hours, huh?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a testament to like how much fun Dissidia initially was, but I think that's also kind of shows us how the game is. He says it's better, but he still played less of it. So to me, that means that it's much in the same, just a little bit improved, like we've been talking about this whole review, where you said earlier it's the same game, just 15% better. I feel like that's kind of how he must have approached it, because I message him often, and he mentions the fact that he loves the Dude Kime even more, but played it less. So
yeah, and Shinru was telling us that it was worse. That there was something about the physics that weren't as good. So I guess from our listeners, those are the only listeners I know that have played it, though. Now, critically, I believe it did I think Famitsu gave it 2 more points than it gave the original game. So they kind of agree that it was a slightly better experience than the first game. And, but the sales, I think it sold half as much. I think the first game sold 1 million copies, and then this one sold 500,000 copies.
yeah,
So, it's not as well known. I think the first Dissidia was the event Dissidia, and maybe this one came too soon after. But I mean, yeah, it's not that well remembered, I think.
yeah. So
another confusing thing about it being it's a remake. It's the same game again.
yeah.
We almost only played this game instead of playing the original one. So.
Yeah, which would have been weird because the Dissidia 12 Dude Kime campaign came before. Right. So I'm glad we did it the way we did, because that was chronologically on its release, but not chronologically within the lore. But still, I don't know. It seems wrong to review the newer one before the older one, because we haven't done that ever in this gaming podcast. But Metacritic has 78 out of 100 for Dude Kime, and the original Dissidia a 79 out of 100. And it is a 36 versus a 38 out of 40 from Famitsu. So, I mean, the world kind of thinks they're basically the same game, which is pretty fucking accurate.
Pretty accurate, yeah. So, not much to say about Legacy.
Yeah,
Certainly it wasn't one of the ones that I had heard of that much. I mean, I'd heard of the original Dissidia a lot more. I was aware that a sequel came out, but other than that, no.
We didn't know it had the main campaign until very recently, and I had known of its existence for years. I would say if you're gonna play one of them, I would probably play Dudekheim, because you get all of the same stuff from original Dissidia once you beat the Dudekheim campaign, and I just think it's the more sensible purchase is getting this one, because it's a little bit better in all the ways, and you get the same content from the original game. So it's a win-win.
I agree. The only loss is the Laguna, but I agree. Yeah, so I guess our overall thoughts on it, kind of echoing what we said a million times here. It's pretty much the same game. Obviously a slightly different campaign that's a little better, but everything else is pretty much an improvement. So yeah, I liked it. I liked this game. I liked playing it. Obviously didn't ram through it like the other games I tend to like, but yeah, I thought overall it was a good experience. I was kind of dreading this one because I had heard otherwise, but I don't know. I don't know where those thoughts come from.
Yeah, you guys should focus your anger and hate on the Crystal Chronicle games.
Yeah. Someone told me those would be good, and that turned out to be just a fucking lie.
Yeah, that was a fucking lie.
So yeah, I enjoyed this game very much, and then I know exactly what my ranking is going to be.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna do Dissidia 12 Dudekheim XII, and then OG Dissidia right below it. It's a close call, but I can't do it any other way. It's just a little better.
It is close, and I'm doing the exact same thing. I think this one's an improvement on the first one. So yeah, there you go. There's our Dissidia 012 Dudekheim Duodecim Jose Schvelv Juni, other ways to say 12 Final Fantasy review.
Yeah, we finally did it after quoting Dudekheim for the last year and a half of our lives. Dudekheim is now in the past and no longer in the future.
Dudekheim's now complete. So it's 7 games left?
Yeah, the next one will be Dissidia NT, and then we have Theater Rhythm Curtain Call, Mystic Quest, 4 Heroes of Light, Explorers, World of Final Fantasy. Yeah, so 7 more titles.
7 games. I'm going to beat Dissidia NT very quickly. Very quickly. I'm stuck on a boss, but I don't think I'll be stuck on it for long. If I can beat that game tonight, I will.
The hard part is that it's Thursday night right now, and the next scheduled episode for recording for us is going to be Monday. Do you want to ask them for the questions, or do we want to give it a week and then do some more 13?
I'll give it a week. You can play the game a little longer if you want.
Okay. So, yeah, guys, if you're going to be playing that, feel free to play it with us if you see us online. My username is Schweiss1 on PlayStation Network. And
if you can find him, you can find me.
Yeah, and I'm always open to play with other people if I'm playing the same thing. So it's always a free open door policy over here at Schweiss's place. Open closet policy if you want to live under the stairs if you can.
You can find us at ultimatefinalfantasy.com. You can support us on Patreon if you so desire. We really appreciate it. Keeps the show going, keeps the lights on. We are going to be in New York. I gotta buy the tickets right after we're done here. July 28th is when June 28th is when we're flying in. July 2nd is when we're flying out. And then KupoCon is June 30th, I believe.
Yes.
So if you're in New York, we'll be staying in Newark, New Jersey, and we're going to be having a lot of fun. I've got to go see the Museum of the Moving Image at some point in those days. So if anybody wants to join us in our KupoCon adventures, wrapping up the show, meeting, I'm sure at least like 5 of our listeners are going to be there, so we'll meet a few people, get really drunk, and this time we're going to get some daytime plane tickets because I don't want to be like falling asleep over and over again.
Yeah.
During this thing, yeah.
Same.
So, Tylenol PM a few days before to get my sleep schedule back earlier, and then yeah, I'm gonna live it the fuck up over in this New York trip. So I'm so excited to see you guys there. But you can contact us on Twitter. I am at Joseph Golier.
I am at UFF Podcast.
And Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, Twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy, and yeah, our other shows: Nude Clan, the Godzilla Podcast. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, there's a Song of Schweiss and Johnson, and I think that's about it, Schweiss.
Yeah. Also, guys, for all of you who are concerned with the 14 expansion, I put something on Facebook a little while ago telling everyone what our remaining games were. They were like, oh, 14. We're going to be playing 14, Shadowbringers. And that's actually the day we get back. Like, our return flight is July 2nd. That's when that game drops. So right after we finally we get done with all of the ones that are there, they whip that Final Fantasy dick out and slap us in the face with it again. Shadowbringers.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. But yeah, okay, we're done here. See you guys next week.
Yeah, as always, enjoy the NT grind.